So I was doom scrolling through YouTube shorts and I saw a short that advertised an art competition.
Artists in need of Nitro and Robux? Well, you found the right place. I'm hosting a fan art contest with really good prizes.
I'm not in any need of Nitro or Robux, but I do feel the allure of greed, even if I would probably just leave it to get dust if I win the competition. But the most important reason why I joined this competition is creativity. Instead of being cooped up drawing the same 4 blocks over and over again, I thought it'd be a nice change of pace to focus on the random dude for a little bit. At first I wanted to be extra and include all the characters, but to be frank, that's like a lot. I wanted a piece where you can really let a character shine. Who knows, maybe I'll draw the rest of the day, you know, if you want to Riri. So if I want to draw only one character, which is gonna be Purple Guy. He seems to be the face, so obvious pick. I really like the purple palette. Purple is a royal color, so I really should have guessed he's related to royalty of some kind. He's king. The horns and tail are also cool too. I think he's a dragon of sorts, which gives him an antagonist and royalty feel to me. Glasses I especially like. 4 Eyes Gang Rise Up. Gives an aura of calculativeness, especially when he's doing the anime push-up glasses pose. So after 5 minutes of scrolling through Riri's YouTube shorts, I learned from a short that his name is Azido and he's an antagonist in Zack Curry's lore. He's a king from a rival kingdom that destroys other kingdoms for power. Okay, so now we have the basic character info. That's enough to start drawing, right? Nah, not today, or however long it takes to finish this project. You see, I like to LARP. And what that has anything to do with the subject of this video is that I'm going to pretend like I'm nothing but a lowly subject of the great King Azido, who was hired as a royal painter, and if I don't fully capture his greatness, he'll chop my fucking... I mean, I'm not sure if he'll actually do that, but that's why we're here, to figure out and capture his essence. Though, keep in mind, this is just my interpretation of the character from what I've gathered up. Things may be different or end up changing. At the end of the day, this OC belongs to Riri, and I hope my fan art can be viewed as an appreciation of their work. Back to LARPing. So, since I'm a court painter, I'm basically tasked with creating a royal portrait of his greatness. Well, give me a sec.
Royal portraits.
While searching for references of royal paintings, there's one painting that captures my attention the most. The royal portrait of King Charles. It's terrifying, if you can't tell. No matter what the intention was, the results don't reflect kindly on the subject in my opinion. It looks like he's drenched in blood and hell flames. The wee little butterfly on the left feels fragile and small, almost like it's about to be crushed by the very atmosphere of the portrait itself. The only thing that isn't the color of hell flames is the king's face and wrinkly hands. In isolation, he almost looks unassuming, like any other kindly old grandpa. But paired with the rest of this painting, that spark in his eyes, the smile on his lips, all starts to feel... I don't know much about King Charles, but this ain't giving me a good impression. Of course, there can be more positive interpretations of the painting. There is a show of power, the butterfly can represent hope, the king's smile really is that of a benevolent ruler, providing guidance to a world full of chaos. Yet you can't deny that it also looks like the perfect portrait you would make of an evil monarch. Now, I don't want to completely copy this portrait. I'll take inspiration from it, but copying is not my goal. I focus on this painting because whether intentional or even true, it's such a captivating insight into the mind of both subject and artist, as well as ourselves. As I described before, you can come up with very different viewings of what this painting is trying to say. And there are some that say that the painter is trying to tell us something about the king, a warning if you will, implying that he may or may not be as nice as he seems. So that's probably not true, but It makes for a good story, doesn't it? A compelling mindset to have when you're painting the portrait of an evil king. Like what I'm doing right now. Okay, let's start by analyzing Azido, and how his personality can be conveyed in a royal painting. One of the most important things in a royal portrait has to do is to be essentially propaganda, to show the people what the royal wants them to see. So what image would Azido want to convey to the public? And more importantly, how does that clash or harmonize with his true self? From what I've gathered from the shorts about him, he's quirky.
Do you think any of this was a good idea?
Probably because I'm a dangerous sociopath with a long history of violence.
Oh.
I don't understand how you keep forgetting that.
Which I think can actually be an interesting angle. Azido seems to be very open about his evilness.
I impregnated a horse.
Even given the very playful feel. He doesn't conduct himself as a monarch, but more so emphasizes the role of silly guy. This man has committed multiple heinous war crimes. Guaranteed. But he's just a silly guy, come on. But what about the kingdoms he's destroyed? This man, his hands are drenched in blood. What acts did Azido even do to achieve that? What does he even do to the citizens of the kingdoms he's doomed? Does he even take prisoners? How did other kingdoms, monarchs, and subjects view him? Did he laugh at his veneer of foolishness before he destroys them in front of their very own eyes? Was it like a slow seeping poison or a rapid fire? Does every act of jest send shivers down your spine? Is Azido putting up an act, or was his view of the world so warped and corrupted by power that he simply views them as playthings he uses as he pleases, no matter the consequence? Since I'm not exactly sure was it, I'll put in some ambiguity. After all, you're not quite sure what Prince Charles was thinking. Either way, there will certainly be a lot of playfulness to the painting, but also a sense of foreboding power. He is the antagonist of a story after all, and destroyer of a kingdoms at that. And don't forget, gotta capture that face card. He looks very young, like mid to late 20s young for me. I'm not sure how old he actually is. He doesn't seem human, so for all I know, he could be like a bajillion years old. I think that's another compelling layer. A youthful and mischievous king with the blood of thousands in his hands. So let's start cooking.
Several days later.
Not bad. This is more ambitious than I expected. I had to learn just this thing called a background. Very common in paintings apparently. It's this thing I always do when I'm doing a project. There'll just be that one aspect that bugs me, and it'll keep bugging me even as I work on other aspects of the project forever and never, until I finally tackle the damn thing. And so after doing some Azido studies, I got on all fours and started drawing the background. I don't know how to use the Krita ruler tool, as you can tell, but I found out how to use gradient maps. Sort of helped a ton with the process. I separate the shadows and the colors into different gradient maps. I think it helps with the depth of the drawing. And for a little pizzazz, I use the color blending mode to add a little blue to the shadows. Helps break up the monotony a little bit, in my opinion. This is the reference I use for it. Easy enough for me to scramble together. God, I really need to learn how to properly draw backgrounds. I made a whole Minecraft build to avoid doing that. Then I drew the globe. That's it. I just like how it turned out. Oh, and the reason why there's no speed paint is because I do not trust my laptop to record hours worth of footage without bursting into flames. Cletus Mildred, I love you, but I know your limits. And then to the man himself, Azido. As I mentioned before, I did some studies, sketches to figure out how I want to draw him. I didn't completely figure out everything by the time I started a new sketch. I just learned and adjusted as I went along, which took me a really long time. When I'm done sketching one part, I'll close the laptop and open my sketchbook to study the next part of the drawing. I started the clothes, then the face, then the hair. I had the most trouble with the hair. I wasn't familiar with drawing Azido's hairstyle and had a habit of trying to stick as close to my references as possible. It helps to remind myself that it's fine to put a bit of your own spin on things and not be a carbon copy of the original. Plus, it helped to look at Riri's own rendition of Azito. I didn't have much to say about the shading and coloring other than it took me a super long time to complete. I liked how the eyes turned out though. I added the glasses after everything, airbrushed some lighting and shadows, signature, boom. There's a bit of a hiccup. I didn't remember that my laptop displays graphics differently, as in, the colors are a tad janked, and it's a little less vibrant than my phone. So things that look normally saturated on Cletus Mildred can look a bit brighter on my phone, but I don't mind the intensity too much. I feel like it can pass as a stylistic choice, but to ease my eyes a bit, I slightly adjusted the saturation, which I'm beginning to believe is more of a placebo effect. And with that, I'm finally done with this piece. I'm okay with I feel like I'm more proud of the time I spent staying to the piece itself, while also being frustrated about it. It's a lot of feeling. On one hand, I'm proud of sticking with it until completion, but on the other hand, I'm sure there's a less time-consuming way, and those are hours of my life that I'll never get back. I mean, I'm not saying I regret starting this project at all. I'm glad I did it, and even if I were to never show this. Well, I mean, of course I'm going to show this. It's just, even if I gave up halfway through, I think the most important lesson I learned from this thing, that I always have to learn again and again and again, is to enjoy the process. I mean, trust the process, yes, but most importantly for me is to enjoy it. I don't like drawing backgrounds. I mean, I'm sure I'll like them when I actually learn how to do them, sit down and learn, but right now, it's I don't know how to do it, so I don't really like doing it, but I still eventually, I got to have fun just like painting the background and fiddling with the color maps and stuff, and yeah, there's a bit of fun, there's fun to be had when spending, just devoting a massive amount of time, just taking your time on a passion project and making sure it comes out the way you want it to be. Of course, things don't go as expected a lot of the time, but I think that's part of the fun of doing art, Yeah. Anyways, this whole part was off script. So anyways, back. Azito in the painting is more dark than I imagined initially. The lighting is super dramatic. My guy is half shadow. I think this plays more on the villain aspect than the silly guy aspect to his character. I'm fine with that, but I wonder what a different composition would have been. There's symbolism, not too complicated. You can figure it out on yourself, and write what you think in the comments below. Let's just say the red on the globe was pink before being blasted by the overlay layer. So yeah, that's it. That's my painting. I hope it's good enough to...